If you're trying to decide which is a better platform, Facebook ads versus Google ads to generate e-com sales, then you're at the right video, as I've ran over $40 million worth of paid media over the last 10 years on social platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Google ads, of course. And there is one fundamental difference between these two. Now, first, let me start with how they are the same. If you're trying to, again, generate e-com sales, get new customers, you're trying to prospect, both of these platforms are great to generate conversion because they have scalability, and because of all the data that they have, they're great for targeting. However, there is a difference when it comes to one key thing, and that's intention. Someone that is actively on a social platform, they're not necessarily searching for something, although they are in a discovery mindset, and if they come across paid content from a brand, if they're willing to engage with it. But the thing here is that the ad needs to generate intention for something to buy, for someone to buy something. Someone's not actively scrolling through their Instagram looking for a new gym membership, or they're not looking for a new watch to buy necessarily. That intention is not there. Your ad has to generate it. And the difference is that when someone's actively on Google, they're searching for something, and if they're searching for a product, there could be intention to purchase. There's not always intention to purchase. There's a difference if someone's typing in on Google, what's the price of something versus where do I buy it versus product A versus product B. There could be several different levels of intention, but the main thing you want to understand is that there is a fundamental difference of intention when these people are on these platforms. Now, I know you've probably seen this before, right? The sales funnel. And this is something marketers use as a framework for their messaging and for their media strategy. And the thing I think people fail to understand is a lot of times you see this simplified version of the funnel, which is just awareness, consideration, conversion. But there's actually steps in the decision-making process that a buyer goes through that usually aren't highlighted. And one in particular are interest and desire. Just because you have awareness of something doesn't mean you're going to consider buying it. You have to have a certain interest and desire in that product or service before you're going to actually consider it. And when you start to consider it, this is the point where you've now narrowed down 2 to 3 brands that you are now in your consideration set, as we call it, where you would go to something. So if I would say electric vehicle, there's some brands that come to mind, probably 2 to 3, maybe even less, maybe only 1. If I say organic food, there's probably, if you're in the US market, you might think about Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. So there's these other steps in the funnel, and one in particular that is relevant to your paid media strategy that we just talked about is purchase intent. Just because I'm aware of your product and I have some level of interest and desire, and I would consider it, doesn't mean I have an intention to buy. So the great thing about Google ads versus Facebook is that there is an intention a lot of times when people are coming to the platform, whereas Facebook, you have to generate it. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you have good creative, you can generate intention to buy. And what I want to do is in the next couple of slides is I'm going to give you a few different scenarios and basically point you to which one you should be leaning your budgets into depending on those scenarios. Before we get into those scenarios, I actually totally forgot. I have a small little case study from a campaign that I recently ran to illustrate this difference in intention and how it manifests at a metric level, at the data level. So you can see here the KPIs for this campaign were we were looking at click-through rates, cost per click, and also conversion rates. Conversion rates being the most important, right? Because we want to get a sale at the end of the day. And this was for an e-com product that was being sold on a Shopify store. And what we saw was that click-through rate wise, the engagement on Google was way higher. Again, people are coming to Google to search for something. If you're showing them an ad for what they're searching for, higher intention, right? And you can see in the difference in the click-through rates between Facebook and also this ran on Facebook and Instagram, just to clarify. So big win for Google ads. From a cost perspective, it was cheaper on Facebook because the users, they were somewhat interested, but they weren't really looking for this product. So you got a cheaper click, but that didn't necessarily translate into a better cost per action. So in terms of conversion, we saw, of course, that people had the intention on Google ads were almost twice as likely, actually a little bit more than twice as likely to buy. And then just to give you some added visibility, we also looked at on-site engagement metrics so that once they were on the website, what were they doing? And we also saw that the intention was with Google. Users were more likely to look at more pages on the website if they came from our Google ads. And they were also more likely to stay on the website, almost twice as likely, which shows again that Google was a lot stronger at driving intention in this scenario. So let's say you have a Shopify e-com store and you're selling a product in the $25 to $50 price range, and it's like an impulse product. It's something that you would sell almost if you were at a Walmart, something that you would see in the line while you're waiting for the cashier, something that you'd buy low cost, that you would really wouldn't think too much about it. And examples of this could be maybe makeup, something that's in $15 price range that, again, someone might not really need, but it's kind of like a want. And in this scenario, let's just say that you have a CRM list from past buyers and your budget is $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and you have a really good video for your product. In this situation, I would probably say you probably want to put most of your money in Facebook and Instagram, probably more Instagram, but I would actually do both platforms and let things auto-optimize. Under these circumstances. Why? Because with your CRM list, you could build a lookalike audience that's going to crush. You have a decent amount of money where you're going to probably get more than 50 conversions in the week, so you'll be able to exit the learning phase. And then you have a good video creative, which video on social, that's just always a killer combination. So I would probably do a 70-30 split leaning into Facebook and Instagram in this scenario. Now in scenario B, I'd say the background is, once again, you have this e-com store, you're selling this impulse product in the $25 to $50 price range, but a different set of circumstances. You do not have data from past buyers, and you have a much smaller budget, and also you don't have a lot of creative resources. Maybe you yourself are creating the ads using Canva or Photoshop, or maybe you outsourced it, but you don't have elaborate video. You just have very limited creative. In this situation, I would actually probably lean more of the dollars into Google AdWords than Facebook and Instagram, because you can't benefit from the data to prospect. So you're going to have to do a lot of testing and learning from an interest perspective to see what works. And also because you don't have a very good ad, potentially, you're not going to be able to generate interest and desire to push people to have an intention to buy your product. Whereas on Google, they're probably already searching with intent to buy. So again, in this situation, Google's probably going to get the lion's share of the dollars. Facebook and Instagram, you should definitely keep some dollars there just to test and so you can learn as well. Now, before I show you the final scenario, I want to make sure that you've already downloaded the Facebook Ad Hacks cheat sheet. This is a culmination of what I've learned over the last 10 years of running ads on Facebook. And it's going to show you a lot of tried and true principles and practices that I've learned over the years that have saved me a ton of money. Sometimes I've lost money, but in those experiences I've learned. And I created this document just to kind of put all of those key cheat items that I like to remind myself from time to time when I'm building out a campaign or strategy. It's completely free. You can download it. There's going to be a link below in the description. All right, scenario C, the last one. So let's say you're selling now I'm sorry, I put impulse product. It's not an impulse product. Let's say it's a product in the $250 plus price range. And if that's an impulse product to you, then you're probably doing pretty well yourself. And I'm honestly wondering why you're watching my video. Let's just say now your product solves a problem that has low market awareness. So this is something that's just not commonly known. Toothpaste solves a problem, right? It helps us keep our teeth clean. That's a product that has high market awareness and people know what toothpaste is for. Deodorant, people know what that's for. An oil change for your car, people know what that's for. Sorry, that's not an e-com example, but you get the idea. So let's say in this situation, you're solving you're doing something innovative that people really don't know that much about. And I'll give you an example. There was actually a client I had one time, again, not e-com, but just to clarify this point, that had a cryotherapy business. And at that time in Miami, South Florida, not a lot of people were looking at cryotherapy as a solution for workout recovery. CrossFitters, bodybuilders, they weren't really looking for that. So when we were trying to build out campaigns in Google, there was just like no volume. So again, that's just an example. So let's say this is an e-com product, but it's just complex and you really have to educate the client in order for them to want to buy this. But you do have big budgets and resources and you have good creative. So what would you want to do in this scenario? In this scenario, I would probably lean into Facebook and Instagram because you're going to have to generate demand. There might not be enough people actively searching on Google on a monthly basis for this solution, for this product. So in that situation, you need to generate demand because the demand might not already be there. And if you have good budgets and good creative, on social is an effective place to do that. Now, if you guys don't already know, we are actually launching Market and Hustle, the podcast that's going to be coming to Spotify and to Apple Podcasts as well. That's going to be happening on August 2020. Make sure to look out for a link in the description. And what we hope to do with this is just go deeper into some of the topics that we talk about on YouTube. And sometimes there's a lot of questions and comments that I get from you guys. And I want to be able to really unpack some of the conversations that I have behind the closed doors that could really help you guys accelerate your business growth. Now, as a bonus, I want to give you guys, a quick anatomy of a high-performing ad for Facebook and also for Google. And this is an example of an ad I recently ran, and I had to do a lot of testing on this just to test against other versions of creative. And this actually ended up being one of the highest-performing ads that I had in my campaign. So I wanted to take a moment to evaluate and tell you why it works. Because again, if you are using Facebook ads, you're going to have to generate purchase intent. You're going to have to use your ad to generate interest and desire. So someone's going to want to buy what you're trying to sell because they're not looking for it. So the first thing is your ad has to be thumb stopping. In this example, I was trying to target people who are interested in marketing, maybe small business owners, entrepreneurs. So one of the reasons it works so well to be thumb stopping is because there's a whiteboard and there's also a sales funnel on the whiteboard, which is synonymous with digital marketing. So the first thing is you got to grab someone's attention. Then the second thing is the message that you see is benefit led. Nobody wants to do well. People want to dominate in business. And this is actually a headline that I had tested on YouTube many times before in the past. So now you're seeing this visual that stops you, and then you see dominate. It's like, hell, I want to dominate. I want to crush. It's a benefit-led message. And then you see social proofing within the ad. So I said, trusted by over 5,000 pros. And this is important because whenever you make a claim, like if I'm making the claim that you're going to dominate, I need to back that claim up. In advertising, it's called support the claim. I need to back that claim up with some form of a logic. In this situation, I'm saying it's trusted by over 5,000 professionals. There's over 5,000 people that are actively using, one of our templates. It's actually a lot more than that. Just 5,000 was a good even number that I picked. So again, whenever you have a key message, where this key message is dominate, you need to back it up with a claim. So that's one of the reasons I thought this works so well. And now I want to show you a Google Ads example. So this is the Google Ads example that I ran in contrast to this Facebook ads campaign. And the first thing I want to show you here is, first of all, this is for people who are searching for social media strategy template. And the first thing I want to point out is you have to really own the real estate feed in Google Ads. In any platform really, but in Google Ads in particular, extensions are key. So the extensions that you see in the first small rectangle, those are call out extensions. So it says best in class frameworks, B2C and B2B versions, step-by-step instructions. So these are some call outs. And then the ones under that that really complement with the site links, because they eat up they make the ad twice as large now. And that's just what tends to happen. If you have an ad that's twice as long, it pushes the other ads down in the feed and your ad gets more attention. Also, very key, have your keyword first thing in the actual ad. That's what people are searching for. People read from left to right, always want to have that first. And also, if you can insert any kind of numbers or special characters, that also helps to draw attention to the headline. So again, this is an example of a high-performing Google search ad and some principles that you can take into your next campaign. All right, so just to wrap it all up, just a few key takeaways. Facebook ads is affinity driven. People are not actually searching with intent to buy something. You're targeting people based on some interest that they have, but they're not actively searching for something at the moment. But the great thing about Facebook ads is you can scale. There's billions of people on the platform. In the US market, there's over 200 million, maybe more than that. So it has a lot of scalability. And if you're launching a product that people aren't searching a lot for on Google, This is a great place to generate demand, and it's also going to help some people jump over to Google and start to search and research more. And also, in order to be effective, your creative has to be strong, because creative is the main driver of intent here. If someone isn't looking to buy something, you can actually convince them to be interested with really good creative. Whereas Google Ads, again, the difference here is it's not affinity driven, it's intent driven. It's what am I looking for at this moment, not what kind of content do I consume regularly, or what pages do I follow. It's what am I looking for right now. Again, the scalability probably is not going to be high as Facebook ads, but it plays a role because performance-wise, there's a higher intent because people are looking for something at that moment. So in that case, your creative doesn't have to do the heavy lifting because people are researching for things. And that's really the difference between the main two platforms. You should probably incorporate them both into your paid media plans, but you want to understand in which situations you want to shift budgets towards one so that you can maximize your return on your ads. Pop quiz. Let's say you wanted to scale your e-com sales, and in this situation you had a CRM list, you had really strong creative, and you also had a product or that you're selling that it was a simple decision. It's not something complicated. Where would you lean most of your money? Would you lean it into Google ads, or would you lean it into Facebook and Instagram ads? Comment below and let me know what you think. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Market and Hustle, where we simplify marketing so that you can accelerate your business growth. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you learned something new. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.